Boomerang Total Recall benefits to a client. It's to be tailored to your needs and your specifications. No two environments that we support are alike out in the field, and for that reason, no two environments are exactly alike during a Boomerang Total Recall engagement either. So we take this solution and tailor it to meet your needs and specifications when a time of outage occurs. We do biannual simulated restore events. What this means to you is what I talked about earlier. The key metric to a success of a good business continuity plan is having regular testing and regular evaluation. So our team works with your team to simulate restore events, test how those restores work, make sure that all vital services and mission-critical applications are available when we restore the environment, and then we document where the holes in the game may have been and then work to improve those. By doing this regular testing, should a physical disaster, and we have to implement this plan, it won't be the first time we do it, and a lot of the stress that comes with just how to do it will have been already practiced. So think of it in terms like that, just like a football player needs to practice for Sundays, we're really practicing in case there's an event as well. And then from these tests, we're able to give you a customized service level agreement. So two topics that you're going to hear a lot about when you're looking at disaster recovery and continuity are recovery point objective and recovery time objective. Recovery point objective is the point in time that we can restore your data from. In most cases, we look at this as being last night's good backup. Because Boomerang Offsite does have some real-time components to it too, some continuous data protection, we may be able to achieve a better SLA than last night's recovery point objective or last night's good backup. But that's a good place to start. And then we're able to see what our recovery time objective will be to get you back up and running. For most mid-sized businesses, we can usually get you back to yesterday's data within one business day. So really the only time you might be losing business is the actual date of the disaster, and on a day like that there'll be quite a few other issues that you'll need to attend to before you can get back to regular business. But you know, the real reality is if you're a larger size organization, we may have to, there just may be no physical way to physically get all those servers up within one business day. So what we do is we then stage them in order of succession to criticality to your organization and then get you a customized recovery time objective to meet your service level agreement. Again, a big benefit of Total Recall, though, is because you're leveraging our assets and our infrastructure, the cost comes way down from the cost of doing a traditional hot site environment where you have to replicate one for one every piece of IT asset that you have within your infrastructure. Because of this lowered cost, you know, one of the trade-offs might be a little bit of recovery time objective. So what do we provide to you as a client in coming into Boomerang Total Recall with us? As I mentioned before, we provide you with all required backup software. We give you software updates for the term of the service, so any new versions, hot fixes, or you know, version level updates, we provide that to you during the term of the service. There's no additional purchases for you to make. We have scalable data center storage that allows you to grow as your business requirements expand. We'll never limit you to the amount of data that you can send our way, and there's no limiting factor to you cross over a threshold like you might in tape, where if you go beyond this amount of data, you now need to get a new tape drive or a tape backup. That does not exist within the Boomerang Total Recall service. Technical resources will work with you to configure and automate those backups. We monitor that backup service, and we make sure it's available, working, and getting backups nightly. If there's remediation required, a backup fails, a restore is needed, any level of service as it relates to this that you need to request, that remediation is included as part of the service. Again, if an emergency is declared, we provide you server assets within our grid computing network in order to get up and running. But the biggest thing that you need to keep in mind is that you'd never go it alone. Our team will be with you every step of the way during an outage or an event. Boomerang Total Recall protects the following: all critical data from physical or mechanical losses, data in transmission. We make sure that we have a 256-bit encryption working for you when we host and hold your data. We protect your data from employee negligence, which is to say, by having your data with us, if an employee went in tomorrow and was disgruntled and decided to erase a key database or do other negligent acts to your data, you can recover from that. We can get you back in time, and then there would be no harm other than obviously the actual act of employee negligence and the repercussions that would happen within your organization from addressing that. We give you protection from media defects. I'm sure there's a few of you that might be on this call that have had a need to restore, went to your backup tape, and the backup media was no longer functioning properly, and you weren't able to do a restore of a file from that piece of media. In this case, because everything is disk-based backup, you would not have to worry about media defects. And then what's the biggest thing Boomerang Total Recall protects? Your business. The reality, if for those of you that have been on this entire series, I think back in the first session we talked about what was the percentage of businesses that went out of business when there was a physical site disaster. 93% of the businesses were out of business within 5 years of that event, and 80% of the businesses were out of business within 2 years of the event because they didn't have proper backup, because they didn't have customer data, because they were not able to support the customer in the manner that they were accustomed to in the past. Those statistics came from the U.S. Bureau of Labor, so it was really compelling, and one thing we want to make sure that everybody understands here is that, at the end of the day, what are we protecting? It's your business. So what's Boomerang Total Recall scenario look like? Total Recall scenario number one is a traditional client environment where they have a server and a number of PCs. For us to have a successful Total Recall backup and restore in the event of an emergency situation, we would need to back up two things. We would need to back up the entire image of your server, so that includes the data and the system state of the operating system, and we would need to back up key personnel PCs. So this means the folks that would actually have to be put to work during an outage to do the vital operations of your organization, accounts receivable and payable, customer relationship and customer satisfaction needs, running any critical systems. Those people's PCs would need to be backed up so we can make them accessible. This slide here shows a little bit about a Boomerang Total Recall. So if you look up at the top left-hand corner of this page, that represents what is being provided to you within our our grid computing infrastructure at Fandotech. We provide you with a private cloud. So what this means is these assets are absolutely secure and only available to your employees and staff. We restore the clients into our grid environment. We restore those PCs into that environment as well. And via the Internet, you can make access from any Internet-connected computer, anywhere, anytime to this access. What I want to point out is up here in this area. These are your PCs that we've backed up, and we make those PCs accessible to the key personnel so they can go in and actually get onto a computer that looks exactly like the one they were working from in the office with the same installed applications, the same look and feel. This is crucial during times of crisis, because one of the biggest stresses would be learning a new system, and we want to make sure that that's not a challenge for you, so we back up those key personnel's desktops and make them accessible.